The awakening beneath the ice. The ice world of Varrock 7 had no name before the mining colony arrived. It was just another frozen rock in the outer reaches, a planet so cold that atmosphere itself fell as snow during the long winter nights. Captain Thelrex of the Kashari Mining Guild stood at the edge of the excavation pit, his four eyes squinting against the white glare. His workers had been drilling for rare metals when their equipment hit something impossible. Metal, ancient metal, buried 3 kilometers deep in prehistoric ice. How old? Thelrex asked his chief surveyor, a nervous Venlil named Kessa. She checked her scanner, then checked it again. Her ears flattened against her skull in disbelief. Captain, the ice around it formed over 300 cycles ago, maybe longer, 300 years, before the Kashari-Venlil alliance, before the Great Peace, before anyone could remember. Thelrex descended into the pit, his breath forming crystals in the frigid air. The excavation lights revealed what his crew had uncovered. A hull, massive, angular, built from materials that still gleamed despite centuries of frozen imprisonment. And there, barely visible beneath the frost, were markings, human markings. The word spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The Terran Supercarrier Indomitable had been found. Every species knew the stories. 3 centuries ago, humanity had been a force that made empires nervous. They didn't have the oldest civilization or the most advanced technology, but they had something that terrified their neighbors. They never surrendered. The human-Drexian War had proven that. When the Drexian Empire tried to subjugate Earth's colonies, humans fought back with a ferocity that shocked the galaxy. They turned cargo ships into weapons. They ambushed fleets twice their size. They won battles they should have lost. And when the Drexian High Command finally offered peace, humanity's terms were simple: leave us alone, or we'll make you regret every star you ever conquered. The Drexians agreed. So did everyone else, but then came the Exodus. A mysterious enemy from dark space attacked without warning, without mercy. Earth's fleet fought desperately, but one by one the human ships went silent. The supercarriers, the pride of humanity's navy, vanished into the black. The Indomitable had been the last. She disappeared during a desperate rearguard action, covering the evacuation of 3 colony worlds. 20,000 souls aboard gone, until now. The excavation took 14 days. Work crews from a dozen species gathered on Varrock 7, united by curiosity and something else: fear. What if the humans were still inside? What if they could be awakened? The Galactic Council sent observers. The Drexian Empire, now the most powerful force in known space, sent warships for security purposes. They parked in orbit, weapons ready, watching. On the 15th day, they breached the hull. The interior was pristine. Emergency lights flickered to life as alien air met human atmosphere for the first time in 300 years. The ship's corridor stretched into darkness, silent as a tomb. Thelrex led the first exploration team. Their footsteps echoed on metal floors. Every door they passed was sealed. Every system was in standby mode. It was as if the ship was sleeping, waiting. They found the crew in Cryobase 7. Rows of pods lined the vast chamber, each one containing a human in suspended animation. The status lights glowed green. Active, alive. By the ancestors, Kessa whispered. They're still breathing. Thelrex stared at the nearest pod. Inside, a human female floated in preservation gel, her face peaceful, her military uniform still crisp. Her rank insignia read, Captain Sarah Chen, United Earth Fleet. The ship's computer chose that moment to activate. Unidentified life forms detected. Running threat assessment. The alien team froze. Lights blazed throughout the ship, somewhere deep in the supercarrier's heart. Power systems began to hum. Threat level unknown, initiating revival protocol, awakening command staff. No. Wait, Thelrex began, but it was too late. The cryopods hissed. Preservation gel drained away. Inside the nearest pod, Captain Chen's eyes snapped open. She took a breath, then another. Her hand moved to the pod's emergency release. The seal broke with a sharp crack. Chen stumbled out, coughing, her legs weak. She grabbed a handrail and pulled herself upright. Her eyes, still adjusting, swept across the alien figures standing in her ship. For a moment, nobody moved. Human and alien stared at each other across 3 centuries of silence. Then Chen spoke, her voice hoarse but clear. Where am I? Thelrex raised his hands in a gesture of peace. You're on the mining world Varric 7, your ship. It was frozen. We found it by accident. How long? 300 years. Chen's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Pain, loss, rage. She looked past the aliens to the rows of cryopods behind them. My crew? Alive. The ship is waking them now. Throughout the Indomitable, 20,000 humans began to open their eyes. Officers and engineers, Marines and medics. They had gone to sleep fighting a desperate battle. They woke to find their war was ancient history and their species scattered to the stars. But they were still armed, still trained, still human. In orbit above Varric 7, the Drexian warships powered up their weapons. Across the galaxy, every empire that remembered humanity's fury began to recall their fleets. Because the humans had returned, and nobody knew if they came in peace or vengeance. The price of peace, Captain Sarah. Chen stood in the Indomitable's command center, staring at a star map that made no sense. The borders were wrong. The territories were wrong. Species she'd never heard of controlled sectors that had been human space. And Earth? Earth was marked with a symbol she didn't recognize. Quarantine zone? She asked, her voice dangerously quiet. Thelrex, the Kashari mining captain, shifted nervously. He'd been explaining galactic history for the past hour, and each revelation made the human commander's expression harder. After the Dark Space War, Earth's system was contaminated. The enemy used weapons that made planets uninhabitable for centuries. The evacuation was completed, Chen finished. I know. I was covering the transports. Her hand clenched into a fist. But you're telling me humanity abandoned our homeworld? Just left? They had no choice. The remaining human colonies scattered across the frontier. Without Earth, without your fleet, they couldn't maintain a unified government. Over time, they integrated into other civilizations, married into other species. Some kept their human identity, but most, Thelrex trailed off. Most forgot, Chen said. They forgot who they were. Around the command center, her bridge crew listened in silence. Commander James Park, her XO, stood rigid at his station. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka's hands trembled over her console. Marine Colonel Marcus Webb, scarred and gray even before cryosleep, looked like he wanted to shoot something. How many? Chen asked. How many pure humans are left? Thelrex consulted his datapad. The census counts approximately 4 million scattered across 200 worlds. But pure human the term isn't used anymore. Most have some genetic integration from 4 million, Chen interrupted. She looked at her crew. We went into cryo with 12 billion humans across 30 colonies. Now there are 4 million. The silence that followed was colder than the ice outside. Then the comm system crackled. Indomitable. This is Admiral Crexton of the Drexian Imperial Fleet. You are ordered to power down all weapon systems and prepare for inspection. Every human on the bridge turned to look at Chen. She smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. Commander Park, ship status, main power at 40% and climbing. Weapon systems coming online. The ship took some damage from the ice, but she's spaceworthy. We could break orbit in 30 minutes. Shields, 70%. Enough to take a hit or two. Chen activated the comm. Admiral Crexton, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Fleet. We are a sovereign military vessel, not subject to Drexian authority. You have no jurisdiction here. A pause. Then, Captain Chen, the United Earth Fleet was dissolved 273 years ago. You are a relic. Stand down or we will take action. Colonel Webb stepped forward. Captain, we've got 20,000 Marines on this ship. Give the word and we'll remind these lizards why their great-grandparents signed the peace treaty. Chen held up a hand. She looked at the tactical display. 6 Drexian battle cruisers in orbit, heavy weapons, modern shields. 300 years of technological advancement. The Indomitable was powerful. But she was old, outnumbered, outgunned. But Chen hadn't survived the Dark Space War by being stupid. Open a general broadcast, she ordered. All frequencies. I want every ship in this system to hear me. I want every species in the galaxy to hear me. Lieutenant Tanaka worked her console. Channel open, Captain. You're broadcasting to everyone. Chen took a breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's return. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Supercarrier Indomitable, United Earth Fleet. To all species listening, 300 years ago, my crew and I fought to save our people from extinction. We lost that war. We lost our home. But we never surrendered. Today, we wake to find our civilization scattered, our identity nearly forgotten. 4 million humans where once there were billions. The galaxy has moved on, and that's fine. We understand. Time doesn't stop for anyone. But if you fire on us, if you attempt to cage us or control us, you will learn why the old empires feared humanity. You'll learn why your histories speak of us with respect and terror. The choice is yours. The comm channel fell silent. Chen could imagine the chaos in the Drexian fleet. Admirals consulting with each other, with their government, with military historians who remembered what humans could do when cornered. Then Admiral Kextan spoke, his voice tight with barely controlled anger. You threaten the Drexian Empire? No, Chen said calmly. I'm making a promise. Leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. It's the same deal we offered your ancestors 3 centuries ago. It worked out well for everyone. Another pause, longer this time. Captain Chen, the Galactic Council, requests a diplomatic meeting. They wish to negotiate terms for humanity's return. Chen glanced at Commander Park, who nodded. They'd done it. They'd bought time. We accept, Chen said. Transmit coordinates. But Admiral, we're keeping our weapons online. Trust, as they say, must be earned. She closed the channel and let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Captain, Colonel Webb said quietly, we're really going to find those 4 million humans? Every single one, Chen promised. And we're going to remind them who they are. We're going to show this galaxy that humanity isn't dead. We're just getting started. In the cryobays below, the remaining 19,000 crew members were waking up. Engineers and scientists, pilots and soldiers, doctors and teachers. The seeds of a new human future. The Indomitable's engines powered up, shaking off 3 centuries of ice. On the hull, the old Earth fleet emblem blazed in the light of Varric 7's distant sun, a blue planet cradled in human hands, and the words "Never Surrender" written beneath. Across the galaxy, in 1,000 different languages, species that had forgotten humanity began to remember. And in the darkness between stars, something else stirred. The enemy from dark space had been watching, waiting. They had destroyed humanity once, now they would have to try again. The colors lowered. 6 months after awakening, the Indomitable had become more than a warship. She had become a symbol. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck watching another transport dock with her ship. Inside were 200 humans from the Venlil frontier worlds. Farmers and merchants who'd lived their whole lives among aliens, some barely remembering their heritage. Now they were coming home to a home that had to be rebuilt from memory. That makes 3,000, Commander Park said, reviewing his data pad. We've visited 47 systems, found scattered communities on 32 of them. And the rest? Chen asked. Either integrated so completely we couldn't find them or, Park hesitated, or they don't want to be found. Some of them are happy where they are, Captain. They have families, lives, they don't remember Earth, and they're not sure they want to. Chen understood. It hurt, but she understood. 300 years was a long time to ask someone to remember. But others remembered. Others answered the call. The Indomitable traveled from system to system, broadcasting a simple message. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Fleet. We're looking for humans. We're going home. Come with us if you want. And they came. In 1s and 2s at first, then in hundreds. Young and old. Pure human and mixed species families. Engineers who'd dreamed of building human ships again. Teachers who'd kept human history alive in secret. Children who'd been told stories about Earth but never believed they'd see their own kind. The Galactic Council watched nervously. Humanity was organizing, growing stronger, remembering, but Chen kept her promise. The Indomitable didn't threaten anyone, didn't raid, didn't conquer. They just searched and gathered, patient as the tide, until they reached the Kelvar sector. The Kelvar were a warrior species, proud and territorial. 2 centuries ago, they'd claimed several former human colonies. When the Indomitable entered their space searching for human settlements, the Kelvar Third Fleet intercepted them. Captain, Lieutenant Tanaka reported, 8 Kelvar warships on approach. They're powering weapons. Chen activated the comm. Kelvar vessels, this is Captain Chen. We're here peacefully, searching for human citizens. We'll leave as soon as... Humans have no rights in Kelvar space, a harsh voice interrupted. You will leave now or be destroyed. Colonel Webb stepped forward. Captain, the Marines are ready. We've got enough firepower to— Stand down, Colonel, Chen ordered. She studied the tactical display. The Indomitable could win this fight, but it would mean war. Everything they'd built, everything they'd promised would shatter. She thought of the 3,000 humans aboard. The children, the families, the hope. Helm, prepare to withdraw, she said quietly. The bridge crew stared at her in shock. Captain, Park said, there are over 500 humans on the planet below. If we leave them, we'll come back, Chen promised. But not like this. Not with guns. The Indomitable began to turn away. Then the sensors lit up. Contact, Tanaka shouted. Multiple ships emerging from hyperspace. 20, 40. I'm reading over 60 vessels. The view screen showed an impossible sight. Ships from a dozen different species, all converging on the Kelvar fleet. Venlil frigates, Kashari transports, even 3 Drexian battle cruisers. And at the front, flying a blue flag Chen hadn't seen in 3 centuries, was a civilian transport. Human-built. Old, patched, held together with hope and determination. On its hull in faded letters, New Earth Collective. A voice came over the comm. Young, nervous, but defiant. Kelvar 3rd Fleet, this is Marcus Chen of the independent ship Remembrance. That supercarrier you're threatening? The captain is my ancestor. 4 generations back, but still family. And you don't threaten our family! More voices joined in. Venlil captains, Kashari merchants, species that had lived alongside scattered humans for centuries. The humans helped us, survived the famine wars. Human engineers saved our colony when the reactors failed. We married into their families. Our children are half human. You threaten them, you threaten us all. Chen felt something break inside her chest. Not pain, the opposite. 300 years and they hadn't forgotten. Humans had scattered, had integrated, had survived. And they'd made friends. Real friends. Admiral Kexton of the Drexian fleet spoke, his voice formal but not hostile. Kelvar 3rd Fleet, the Drexian Empire recognizes Captain Chen's right to search for her people. Stand down. The Kelvar commander hesitated. His 8 ships against 60. The math was simple. We withdraw, he finally said. His ships retreated, weapons powering down. Chen exhaled. Thank you, she broadcast to the assembled fleet. All of you. Thank you. Don't thank us yet, Captain, Marcus Chen said. We're coming with you, all of us. It's time we show this galaxy what humanity really is. Over the next 3 months, the mission changed. It wasn't just the Indomitable anymore. It was a fleet. Human ships and allied vessels traveling together, searching together. They found humans in places Chen never expected. Scientists in Arxur laboratories. Pilots flying for the Civkit Defense League. A human woman who'd become a Zerulean ambassador. And they all had the same story. They'd survived by adapting, by helping others, by being human even when the galaxy tried to make them forget. Word spread. In every sector, on every civilized world, people heard about the supercarrier and her growing fleet, about the captain who kept her promises, about humanity's return. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from 200 species gathered to discuss the human question. Captain Chen attended, walking into the grand hall in her 300-year-old uniform. The council expected demands, reparations, territory, revenge. Instead, Chen said simply, "We want recognition. Not as refugees or relics, but as a sovereign species with the right to exist. We want one world to call home. And we want your word that any human, anywhere, can choose to join us without persecution." The council chambers erupted in debate. Some species argued for restrictions. Others defended humanity's rights. The argument raged for hours. Then the Drexian ambassador stood. The chamber fell silent. The Drexians were the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Their word carried weight. 300 years ago, the ambassador said, "My ancestors fought humanity. It was a war we nearly lost. Not because humans were stronger, but because they never gave up. Every battle, every defeat, they came back harder. When we finally made peace, we did so with respect. And watching Captain Chen these past months, I understand why. She could have chosen war. She had the right. Instead, she chose patience, diplomacy, peace. Humanity deserves their world, their sovereignty, their place among the stars." The vote was called. One by one, species raised their hands in agreement. When it was done, the Council Secretary made it official. By unanimous vote, humanity is recognized as a sovereign species. The quarantine on Earth's system is lifted. Captain Chen, you may go home. Chen felt tears she'd been holding for months finally fall. Thank you. The return journey took 3 weeks. The fleet grew larger every day. 4,000 humans became 8,000.
10,000.
15,000. Ships from across the galaxy joined them, escorts of honor, friends wanting to witness history. When they finally reached Earth's system, Chen stood on the bridge looking at the blue-green world she'd last seen on fire. The planet had healed. The radiation was gone. Life had returned. Earth was ready. And as the Indomitable entered orbit, something impossible happened. Every ship in the system, every species that had come to witness humanity's return, did something unprecedented in galactic history. They lowered their colors. Military vessels, civilian ships, even the Drexian battlecruisers. Every flag came down in salute to the species that had been broken but never defeated, scattered but never destroyed. Colonel Webb stood beside Chen, tears streaming down his scarred face. We made it, Captain. We're home, Chen smiled, watching Earth turn below them. We were always home, Colonel. We just had to remember. She activated the ship-wide comm. All hands, this is the captain. Prepare landing craft. We're going down. And this time we're staying. 20,000 humans and their allies descended to Earth. They landed in the ruins of old cities and began to build new ones. They planted fields, raised families, told stories of the long journey home, and above them, flying from the highest tower of New Geneva, flew the flag of the United Earth Fleet. Blue planet, human hands, and the words that had carried them through 3 centuries of darkness. Never surrender. The galaxy watched and learned a simple truth. You could scatter humanity across 1,000 worlds. You could destroy their civilization. You could make them forget who they were, but you could never break them, because humanity didn't live in planets or ships or empires. It lived in the hearts of people who refused to give up no matter how long the night. And when morning finally came, they would be there, waiting for the dawn. The end.